Fairy Tale 345, viewer comments. Let's go ahead and get started with NW Order for Life. You just saw how Urza couldn't move the way she wanted in her body. That was basically the way to explain why Natsu was going to be unable to fight this guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Natsu was reverted to a time before he knew Dragon Slayer magic, so his body can't do it anymore, or something to that effect. He's going to be tremendously weaker, and he might even get captured. Paul G. Just because Natsu is shorter now doesn't mean his fire attacks still don't pack a punch and won't be enough to own this guy. The only thing that really changed about Natsu is his age, as far as I know. I think your question should be, if that masked man his only power is to make Natsu a child, how is he going to deal with Natsu once he starts getting attacked by him? And NW Order for Life, his next comment, well, I was right about someone being responsible for turning Urza into a child, but I didn't predict it would be a villain, that for more FT members are going to get turned into children. It seems that Urza won't be going to the past, and so my awesome theory of mini Ultir joining Fairy Tail seems doomed to failure. Not sure how Natsu is going to fight this guy now that he's a kid. Someone's going to have to help them, because otherwise, how can they deal with this guy? Alright, before I read the rest of the comments, my take on this is that Urza, a lot of Urza's powers are just connected to her gear and her fighting in that gear. So I agree. I mean, who knows how Hero's going to do it, but I agree that it looks like Natsu's not going to be nearly as crippled as Urza. Okay, because what we learned is Urza's mentally is the same. So Natsu should be mentally the same. It's just he may not have as much power, but it's just way more crippling, it looks like, the way it is for Urza. And Ultir, I still think, and I think I've said this at least a couple of times, is I think that Ultir and both Ultir and by the end of this arc will either be back, or there'll be a definite process, a quest to get them back. There'll be a road to get probably one will be back, and then the other will be, Ur's still alive, or what, or will return to try to help to get Ultir, her daughter. Actually, I think that'd be a lot more powerful. The return of first would actually be more interesting, and because everybody then could get more familiar with her as they're trying to get Ultir back, because I think people are pretty familiar with Ultir. So anyway, and that I think would be also, it would help complete the abandonment issue that Ultir had with the mother. Is the mother finally finding her way and risking it all and getting her daughter back, which would complete, I guess, both sides of the mother-daughter abandonment, guilt issue, all that stuff. I think that would really be pretty freaking awesome, actually, as I think of it. But anyway, I appreciate your comments. Awesome job there. NW Order for Life, Paul G. And this is why I was laughing a little bit about already, because I said, okay, KX Mixer X. Henceforth, I shall dub this arc the Chibi arc. I am a genius. This, every time I think of it, well, there you are. You named it. Well done. Because that is if they put them all, if they're all little kids, then that kind of would make sense. But anyway, which could happen. Excuse me. Okay, Paul G again. According to Wendy, the flame is regarded as the protector of the village. Oh, now we're getting to another really good point. That kind of makes it sound like some kind of creature person. Is anyway, because then you have ever heard of the item called the Protector, possibly Atlas Flame? Dragon nicknamed the Eternal Flame. You know how some dragons sided with the humans in the war versus the dragons. Maybe Atlas is one of those good dragons, and that's why the village referred to him as the Protector. Now, and watch over its aged body against outsiders. I love that, and of course it goes with it. I think some other people have actually mentioned this already. In comments, maybe even previously, that it could be, I think last week this was definitely mentioned, that kind of this, okay? But the idea that it's unfortunately escaping me again, but anyway, that Atlas Flame could be indeed be the flame, okay? And there was another aspect to that actually I wanted to expand on, and it's kind of escaped me, so I'll get back to it. Okay, sorry about that. Kirador Seizu has several comments, which I really do appreciate, so let me go ahead and, as I'm trying to remember that other aspect I was going to bring up. Okay, very simple chapter this week. The structure pretty much the same as last week. A portion of the fighting, although this time it's the fairies that got the upper hand. That's how all battles are conducted in Fairy Tail manga, and conclusions will yet another member of FT turned into a child. What I liked in this chapter is that Hero decided to expand a little on the idea of Dragon Slayer being able to hear voices of other people. That was the thing that I just forgot, was that he's like, right, which I think you're getting to right here, is that Natsu is, why it's familiar to Natsu, the voice, is because it's Atlas Flame. I was thinking more the connection, but it could be Atlas Flame. Okay, but anyway, continue, because I'm pretty sure this is where you're going with this. If you remember that Natsu rallied all Dragon Slayers to fight the dragons, he was able to hear that Cobra turned up to join the fray, and Cobra also displayed that feature and was able to tell that Natsu was present at the battlefield. Ooh, I really like where you're going with this. And when he suggested that he learned, yeah, that is true. That's an awesome angle. The whole Cobra being able to hear, and then they could hear him, and so that's the aspect that dragons and dragon slayers could. And it would make sense that, yeah, I like this. Okay, about Tartarus, that will help him grant immunity from his guild. We learned that what turned Urza was Minerva's partner from the Dark Guild. I think that what this power does is not only turn the person to a child, but also revert that person's magic to a level that they presented when they were kids. And otherwise, it would be practically useless magic, because once the affected one gets to their child bodies, they would obliterate this guy with their overwhelming magic. Well, if their magic is, if they can still do what they could before, it's their magic is reduced, but somebody like Natsu, that's still his because his abilities are, even if you diminish them, his abilities are to power himself up beyond his normal power levels, so he could still be dangerous. So that's, I would go more with that. But anyway, Kirador Seizu continues. My only hope is that it won't turn out to be a Chibi arc with all members of Fairy Tail turned into little children trying to fight back against their enemies. Like I once said, there's too far into the story to have to go through one more Idolus arc. I didn't like the Idolus. I liked elements of the Idolus arc. I just felt most of what happened in it was a waste of time. And a lot of the characters, like the Idolus Lucy, I just hated it. I hated it. It was... before I finish your comments, well, actually, let me go ahead and finish your comments, and then I'll go ahead and at the end I'll expand on this, because I only have a couple more. Okay, your last comment, Kirador Seizu. Zareth and Elogia, Balam Alliance, Lumina History, that's the kettle of fish I'd prefer we'd be dealing with right now, especially after the arc where they technically fight against deadly dragons. This needs to go on an even greater scale, not the tinier one. That's my opinion as someone who tries to treat Fairy Tail at least semi-seriously. And that may be semi too much. That was a problem I started having. I started going, more, and I started really, in this Fairy Tail, if you get, we all know this, start looking at serious as a serious battle manga, and it'll just blow your mind with rage. Anyway, at least it did me. And comedy aspect is still strong in this one, even without turning everyone to a child for the heck of it. So, okay, before I get to my couple other things, I like what you're saying, but this is an issue that we as Fairy Tail fans have had all along. We go, it's funny. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, but Hero, it's like he doesn't know when to stop. It's like, okay, a lot of humor in here. It's really funny. Can you get a little more serious? And Hero, and this is what really irritates us, is he'll look like he's going to get more serious, and he goes back to funny, and we just start pulling our hair out because we're like, we could have used some balance here. You know, it can't all be funny and then okay. But anyway, you get the idea with that. And what's the other point? I think I'll just skip that. Okay, and then the last comment is Jonathan. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this right. Hong, H-O-A-N-G. Don't get insulted. If you know me on my channel, I mispronounce everything, so don't. I don't know what. Jonathan Hong, I think. Anyway, Karagor, I hope something as memorable as a Chibi arc happens. The last few arcs have been kind of forgettable to me. Hell, I don't even fully remember what happened after Jalile's big Lacrima Tower arc. Well, everybody knows I didn't care to. I'm not going to, continue this video on too much longer, but I appreciate everyone's comments. Really good comments all the way through. Really do appreciate. Yeah, I didn't like the last one. Okay, so the big feedback in this is we don't want a Chibi arc. We don't want, how do you pronounce it? We don't want that arc. That's the feedback I'm seeing right here. And unfortunately, I would say probably 75% shot that Hero's going to make everybody a kid, and then they'll get captured or something, because that's Hero. And once again, we get caught up in the thing of to say something is semi-serious to me. Okay, to me that means like 50%. Okay, when somebody says anything, I took a class in this a long time ago. But anybody, it had to do with aircraft accidents, and I know I'm kind of far afield, but I'll make it real quick. But the idea is, anytime someone says a word, I think one thing and you think another, and someone thinks semi means 75 and 25 or 40. But anyway, so moving past that point. But the main point that I want to make with this is that even just giving it a percentage, a fairy tale 50%, probably too much. With Hero, like I say, probably too much, because anytime this starts to get heavy, now there have been some exceptions, but usually when it starts to get anything remotely heavy for any time, he'll just come in with some random crazy goofiness that doesn't work. If it was really funny, then I think that we could forgive it, and then it's like, wow, we know you can be funny, but anyway, I'm just stop complaining about that. Okay, awesome comments. I'm going to go ahead and cut this short, and the other thing I'm just going to skip. And look, it's a lot of fun. As fans, we know that we're back in what we enjoyed before. Okay, it's lighthearted. It feels good. There's a lot of humor in it. I would strongly suggest everyone take it that way. And of course, and like I learned, take it too serious and it just gets infuriating. Okay, once again, anybody can be a fairy tale fan. You can always subscribe. You can always unsubscribe. You can do anything you want to. Until next time, take care.